Here's the thing that I want you to really understand. I know you know this down to your bones. We have so many issues, we have challenges that aren't being met. We have problems that aren't being solved. People are suffering, and I will tell you that whatever issue lights your fire, big money in politics is the mother of all the dysfunction. And so that's where I focus. I have an hour and 15-minute program. And in fact, Benita just mentioned I'll be at Anshie Emmett on, what is 3710 North Broadway? Yeah, like I said, 3750. 3750 starting at 6:30 this Monday. You can see the whole thing, but I want to show you just a little piece because I want you to get an idea of what's happened, what's going on now, and what we can do about it, because we have to do something about it. The program is called Money, Politics, and Democracy. You aren't getting what you want, and I'm pretty confident you're not getting what you want. Whatever you want, you're not getting it. And I'm not going to take sides on issues here. I want you to get that the American people want certain things. We're not getting them. So that's what we're going to look at. Perhaps there are times when you feel like, hey, I'm just one person. What can one person do? Hey, my vote doesn't count. Hundreds of millions of votes are cast. My one vote doesn't matter. I want you to set that aside. Set aside, put aside on standby your doubt about that, and listen to the words of anthropologist Margaret Mead, who said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." We can do this. And that's what I want to show you. We can do this. In my full program, people say, yeah, but what can I do? Well, I come up with 9 specific actions. I'll just talk about a couple of them today, but I want you to get how powerful you really are. You can make a difference. Briefly, we're going to talk about what got us here. Fast spin through history. What's going on now and what we can do about it. And I will tell you it is all about the big money in our politics. Big money in campaign contributions to candidates. It really turns their heads. Big money in third-party spending groups, super PACs, the Koch brothers, Sheldon Adelson, all the people who exert enormous pressure with their dollars, their millions of dollars. Billions, thank you. And as well, lobbying in Congress. The lobbying is just an amazing thing to behold and very disheartening. So that's what we're going to take a look at real fast. Quick spin through history first. That's the beginning of the 14th Amendment. No state shall make or enforce any law. You can read all that, but the important parts are due process and equal protection. Look at the date of that, 1868. What do you suppose that was about? It was about proper treatment for the now freed former slaves, right? That's what it was about. But somehow things got perverted. Just 18 years later, there was a case, Santa Clara County versus the Southern Pacific Railroad. It was a tax jurisdiction case. A very boring tax jurisdiction case that turned into something with a life of its own. Because this guy, court reporter J.C. Bancroft Davis, did what all court reporters do. He wrote up the proceedings of the case. Oddly, though, in the head notes, the orienting text before the actual write-up of the case, what they put in there to give readers a context for what they're about to read, he said something rather peculiar, and here is what he wrote. The defendant corporations are persons within the intent of the clause of Section 1 of the 14th Amendment of the Constitution of the United States. That is arguably the beginning of hardcore corporations are people, my friend. Persons gives corporations equal rights as people, and the story gets worse. 2010, January, the Supreme Court decided the Citizens United case, and this was peculiar beyond description, what happened there. But they found that the First Amendment isn't particular to who's speaking, even if it's a corporation. And here's what that did. That moved the ball downfield. It effectively declares that corporations have all the same rights as people, including free speech and all the rest. And oh, by the way, the ability to use all of their financial leverage to get what they want. So let me just ask you a question. I want to show you a picture. This picture is courtesy of a fundraising email I got from Brad Schneider. Take a look at that. That's the corporate headquarters of Koch Industries. It's made of stone, steel, aluminum, and glass. Does that look like a person to you? All right. I said the story got worse. Well, it got worser. McCutcheon case this year. The big deal with the McCutcheon case is Sean McCutcheon, a businessman in Birmingham, Alabama. He just loves donating his money to political campaigns. And Sean McCutcheon likes getting his way, too. And he got his way with the Supreme Court because they popped off the cap on aggregate contributions to political campaigns. Now, it takes a little bit of sleight of hand, a dog and pony show, to get around the restrictions, but the effect of this is any individual can give an unlimited amount of money. Effectively, what this says is people donating big money have more power than you do. Their vote counts more than you. By the way, and this is the spending that shot up in 2012 as a result of Citizens United. Here's Jasmine Stevens' comment. He says, even if the exchange of votes for expenditures, that is to say contributions, could not be shown, contributors gain favorable political access from such expenditures. Do you suppose if you were running for office and somebody gave you a check for $100,000, they might be able to just call you up on the phone when they wanted to? That's what happens. The big money folks have influence. Study after study. The Woodrow Wilson School did a study. Others have done studies. And what happens is the big money people have access. You don't. Remember what I said? You're not getting what you want? Part of the reason you're not getting what you want is because nobody's listening. Nobody in power is listening. What does that do to your sense of trust in government? It pretty much goes, you take a look at what Pew Research found when they did a study on trust in government. This is a study from last year. Gallup organization did the same kind of a study. We are at 19% trust in government. That means 81 out of 100 people don't trust our government. Now my question for you about that is, how do we have a democracy if 81 of 100 of us don't trust our government? That's the problem. That's the problem. We've lost trust. And it's about the big money. Now, more about how this is affecting you. Do you care about guns, gun safety? Yeah. That's a Bushmaster assault rifle. It is what was used to kill 20 little kids and 7 teachers at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut. Right after that, and in fact up till now, 90% of Americans want universal background checks on guns. Now, if it's 90%, that means that people of all political stripes want universal background checks on gun sales. How'd that work out for us? Not so well, right? The question is why? And it turns out that the NRA didn't want universal background checks because really what they represent is the firearms industry. And that would put the kibosh on firearms sales. It would harm the profits of those companies. So they went around talking to Congress people. Congressman, remember that money that we gave you for your last election? And the one before that? And the one before that? You vote for universal background checks, not only are you not going to get that money, we'll give it to whoever opposes you. They went around Capitol Hill scaring the hell out of legislators. And the result is you didn't get what you wanted. Big money got it, you didn't. Let's try another issue that you might care about. How about health care? You care about health care? Yeah. I'll bet you do. Well, there was a study done by the National Research Council of 17 comparable high-income countries. Check this out. If you're a man in the United States, you're going to live 3.7 fewer years than your Swiss counterpart in that same socioeconomic circumstances. You're going to die 3.7 years earlier than your Swiss counterpart. If you're a woman, 5.7 years. It's going to cost you 5.7 relative to your Japanese counterpart. Are you getting what you want here? Let's keep going. This is the one that just rips my heart out. Of 17 countries, we have the highest rate of infant mortality. We're killing our babies because of our healthcare system that doesn't work right. We have the second highest prevalence of HIV, the highest incidence of AIDS. We have the second highest death rate from ischemic heart disease. And by the way, while all this is going on, we're paying at least double what all those other countries are paying. I don't think we're getting what we want. Our healthcare bill is 18% of our gross domestic product, which is to say, those companies providing health care, all parts of it, they're making a lot of money. That is to say, again, they don't want it changed. They would rather, this is going to get harsh, they would rather make all that money and let you die. That's what it comes down to. They would rather make all that money and let our babies die. We've been trying to reform health care at least since Harry Truman was president. We haven't done it very well. Obamacare, that's not about health care, it's about health insurance. It's about access to health care. It didn't change health delivery. So, my pal Dan Wurtenberg likes to say this: we're perfectly positioned to get exactly the results we're getting right now. Is Dan right? Sure he's right. Try this. You'll remember from science class. Remember that guy, Isaac Newton? He had laws of motion. A body in motion tends to stay in motion unless acted upon by an outside force. You remember that, right? We're the outside force. We're the ones who have to exert the pressure to change the trajectory of this country. It's the only way it's going to happen. The people in power will want to stay in power. It's in their interests to cater to the big money interests. So it's you and me. We're the ones who have to do this. And it's going to take some motivation. You're going to have to find that fire in your belly. That's what it's going to take. You're going to have to feel that fire, so you get up and do something. So you come to an event like this and you learn more. So you meet other people and you figure out how you can contribute. Now, that's the way they verbalized it in this movie. Tom Hartman has a somewhat more elegant way of saying the same thing. He says, change happens when citizens stand up and say, I won't have it anymore. And you know what? There's some of us who won't have it anymore. And Sharon talked about it. We got ballot initiatives on the 2012 ballots. In fact, we got ballot initiatives all over this area, all over the country, to let it be known that the American people want an end to this corporate personhood business, that we want to be able to regulate money in our politics so it doesn't skew things the wrong way. And guess what? All across the country, every one of them passed by a minimum of 64%. This is what America wants. This is what we want. 16 states, over 500 cities and towns, and countless other governmental bodies have sent the message, this is what we want. The state of Illinois is one of them. We were 14, is that the number? We were 14th? All right. And right now, in the U.S. Senate, Senator Tom Udall of New Mexico has a bill in Congress to create the 28th Amendment that it would do just that. And he has over 32 co-sponsors. So I don't know if it's going to pass in the Senate, and if it does, I have no idea what's going to happen in the House. But what I know is it's a start. We have begun. Do you want to know what you can do about it? There's a rally at Mark Kirk's office Wednesday at noon. Go there and let him know what you want. Tell him to co-sponsor this bill. You don't have to go to Dick Durbin's office. He's one of the early co-sponsors of it. But go to Mark Kirk and say, this is what we the people want. We're the Coalition to Restore Democracy. We're all about getting all these organizations that are working to get reform in the United States done. Come and join us. Go on to the Move to Amend website. Sign on their pledge form. Kay, where are you? Kay Gamble has petitions right out there. If you haven't signed them, go sign them on the way out. There's something you can do right now. Go to the Common Cause website. They have a petition as well. Sign that. There are things you can do. And for heaven's sake, on November 4th, vote. Get out and vote. Bring your neighbor. Bring your crazy Uncle Bob. But get them out there to vote. We need change. Just so you know, this is an off-year election. 37% of voters show up. Effectively, that means your vote counts nearly twice as much as in a presidential election. So show up. Because America needs you. In fact, the first time you heard the call, it sounded like this.
The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it. And the glow from that fire can truly light the world. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
He got it right then, and it's still right. Ask what you can do for your country, and together we can cure electile dysfunction. Last comment from a great American philosopher, Dr. Seuss. And he told us if someone like you doesn't care a whole lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. But you do care. That's why you're here right now. You do care. So get up and make a difference. Thank you so much for your interest, your attention, and for being part of the solution.